Mm,
Okay. So Yannick, can you tell me about this MR you wrote?
absolutely.
Can you tell me why you're returning at the top? You know, when they say early returns, this isn't what they mean.
That is not quite not that early. So speaking
I'm,
about an
I'm sorry, Yannick. I'm throwing you off. I'm thinking of all the comments to be like, why is this debugger here? Well, it helps with debugging. Sorry, go ahead, Yannick.
Oh, that's so funny just saying this because I am looking for so long on this feature that I'll be speaking to about that. I completely am overlooking, like I don't even see this thing anymore. And that is why like what is Paul speaking about? What kind of debugger? Wait, what? Like I don't get anything here. But okay. So what I want to speak to you about, or yeah, a question that arises for me is yeah, we are speaking about the code quality inline indicator, where I had to write some horrible code to actually trigger this. And it should not be too much about this because it is more kind of a GitLab UI kind of question. So I'll be hovering this. That's all you need for now to know for the moment. And once I click it, I'll be expanding this, change the icon, and have a different tooltip. So far, so good. Now, I've been dealing with some kind of UI UX feedback, which kind of said, unreasonably, the icons don't really look great when changing that. We don't wanna modify any existing icon, but kind of the wish from UX, which is fair, that came off where could we try to center the collapse icon so that we're just basically growing from the middle, which would be a little more pleasing for the eye.
Yeah.
That was the idea. No worries.
Sounds simple, right?
Kinda. Problem with that is like should be easy to fix. Easy-ish. Let's just apply a negative margin on the button and we should be good to go. Sweet. That's kind of the thing
Wait,
with
are you trying to center something? The icon we're trying to center, like it's not aligned.
Yeah, I guess that's the first question. Why is it not already like I guess the gold, I would call that, the gold dot is centered, right? So why when we change the icon is it no longer centered?
All right.
They're left aligned. That's what they are.
Okay.
What I say.
I don't want to commandeer this. I feel like some of the UI complexity that you're running into, we should go back up a step and talk about the UX, because the UX of this doesn't feel great, and it doesn't seem like it's great to implement. So is there something simpler we could do that's even maybe potentially better for the end user? Here's my crazy idea.
Go for it.
How do we communicate quote quality? Well, I said quote.
Quote quality.
How do we communicate quote quality issues and the IDE? Squiggles. We use squiggly lines. And what if instead of an icon, there was a yellow squiggle on debugger, the word? And then what if below this file blob, if there was any code quality issues, I could see a collapsible list of all the, like an ESLint printout of, rather than having it in
So
line.
it looks like the IDE essentially.
Yes.
There might be one argument against it is those icons, they are kind of, or not kind of, they are severity related. So these icons are not there randomly. This is actually this is a severity low icon. So that.
But then that's the same with the squiggles, right? You get orangey yellow squiggles and red squiggles and green squiggles, and
could be the case.
So, I mean, I must admit, I sometimes miss those squiggles. It depends on, I guess, the what's the term I'm looking for? My like color theme thing. Like definitely a green squiggle, a light green squiggle on this white background, I probably would miss. The dots a bit more in your face. But
yeah, I do want to get back to solving the problem at hand, but I do want to just plant the idea in your head, Yannick, of
I'll take it along with me.
this is
It's definitely, yeah.
the difficulty of implementing this. I feel like is a symptom of no, this is a really weird invading into the current UI space, and it looks cluttered. And if you have open threads and discussions and collapsible stuff, it's going to look really cluttered. And I will not miss it if I see squiggly lines, because I'm trained to see squiggly lines. And I especially miss it if this file has at the bottom. I'm kind of anticipating, let's just, maybe the squiggly lines, I can hover and there's a call out that comes up on top of it. That would be great. But maybe that's another iteration. I would just, for the first iteration, let's collect all of the ones for a single file as like a little box at the bottom of the blob that I could collapse and expand that.
Yep. Let me quickly make a note on this.
Thanks. I know that no one. I know you didn't ask for this. I'm sorry.
No, I'm happy to take this because, funny enough, actually, this discussion is not too far away from me. The very first ideas on this would actually have these indicators within this element here, like within here, and that's where I hardly protested, because there's just so much going on with states and hovers and comments and whatnot within these this little bit of screen state. So that's where I was okay, let's at least move it out here. But it brings some problems. Like, this is a highly populated area. Let me call it like that. Still, maybe we can, before we completely refactor this thing, maybe we can see if we can center this thing. So what I did was to apply a negative margin onto the icon, which obviously will surprise. It's a hack, but it kind of does what it does. It does what it should. The problem I'm now thinking of, and I can think of
which icon has negative margin?
The collapse one. And you know, you're
the one that you're clicking.
When in doubt, you know how you can tell? Just look at the tooltips. And that's my problem. And I can think of 1,000 different ways to solve them and to solve this, and I don't like any of it.
So my immediate thinking was, as before, like, why? Clearly, the way that we're centering the gold icon is not correct, if you know what I mean, because you said for yourself, we're not centering it, we're left aligning it. But we're left aligning it, and yet it appears in the center. So my gut feeling is whatever it sits inside. So at the moment, I'm guessing we're using a margin to get it away from the what's it, from the border, from the line next to it. So instead, should not, what do you do, like margin auto or something, so that it automatically centers itself, and then fix the width of the div that it's inside? Or yes. That kind.
Oh, let's use my favorite thing. This is my favorite thing. Can I show you my favorite thing?
Please.
Okay. The class is, there's a new class for it. It's GL. No, let's go down one. Do you see how the icon is not? Yes. So that on that class, on that div, we're gonna add a class called GL dash two dashes. Yeah, dash flex dash center.
What was that? Blocks? No.
Flex.
Got it.
I'm trying to flex right now. Yep. All right. So this basically is the composite class for display flex, align item center, justify content center. So if you want something absolutely centered in a div.
Holy moly.
So then you get rid of the margin,
Yeah. This will absolutely.
Wait, what? That is exactly what I need.
But don't tell UX we solved this. Tell them we're really wrestling with this. I'm joking. I'm sorry. So flex center is my favorite thing. Yeah.
That is super
so you
handy.
Still, I feel like you still need to get rid of, because because now it's kind of right aligned because there's obviously exactly you got some other kind of margin or padding or something going on that's
like this one or what are you?
Yeah, like that shouldn't both of them, to be fair. That's slightly to the right, and when you click on it, that's slightly to the right as well. So you've got some which you can if you hover over the so you've got that. You shouldn't have that really. So that's for when you've got code coverage.
Yeah. And what's tough too, I was trying to figure out what do those pluses mean? Like I was looking at this and I was like, what does a plus mean? And I was like,
are we for added line? Yeah.
Right. That's what and that's just throwing me off because now that I can click on something and collapse something, I was like, wait, is plus gonna expand it? Like that was my first thought. And
this is what you're saying about clutter, right? We've got the old line number, the new line number, the code coverage, the code quality, whether it's an add or a remove, and comments. So that I think that's 6 pieces.
That's a fair point. Like the plus is such an anti-pattern. Like what we're seeing here is there is a trigger to expand something, and to me it feels like it is internationally accepted for a plus to represent something to be clicked and then expanded, but it's actually the indicator just next to it.
Yeah.
And it could be minus as well. Then you probably would have solved your code quality issue. So yeah, it is pretty much fair to say that it's most certainly a plus next to it. And you would actually need to click this to expand this thing.
Yeah. No, so I immediately was confused what the pluses were. And so now that I see that my pluses are so far away from the number, I'm concerned. I don't like my pluses so far away from the number now. So some option we can keep going down this path.
Would it suck to try and put when we expand it, we display the message? Would putting the message in the tooltip be a crappy experience?
You know what I'm laughing about? Because what you just described is exactly the first iteration of this. The problem with that is kind of there might be more than one message in here in the future.
There's an X over on the right hand side as well.
Yep.
Crikey. So
exactly.
We've got 2 ways of collapsing it as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the tooltip solution will not really work because we might put a few lines of information in there, so we're just kind of getting to the limitations of this.
You could use a call out, so call outs are the fancy tooltips that have all the sweet hookups. Yeah, call outs. This is what we use for the user call out. If you go to you can just go back to the EMR and we can see one.
Oh, just if you hover
over your user. That's a tooltip. No, not that user. Go
what
to
kind of user?
Yeah, you're probably the administrator requested to merge. Probably that one at the top. Yes.
Gotcha.
That's a call out. And you can it's a component. You can put whatever you want in there.
What kind of benefit other than expanding it in there would it have though?
Well, you could list out the issues, so you could have a very readable list of code quality issues for a line.
I think it's just it expands slightly better, right, than this one, but I don't think there's much in it.
I mean, it's very akin to what the IDE does. Like you hover over the squiggly line, and there's a little blob that pops up of with buttons of quick fix or whatever. So yeah, having it pop out would probably be nicer than pushing things down, especially when we already have discussions that push things down.
Yeah, and if you had a comment, if you had a thread against that, and the thread overlap the
That's how it works.
That seems all right.
Do agree. Paul, not quite sure what you just said. Like discussions about pushing things down, is that like not? Is that something we're trying to get away from, or
No, I'm just saying that from the UX perspective, collapsible things, you don't want to have too many of them. Like things
Mhm.
that can cause the user to lose their place because we pushed things down and stuff got shoved down and stuff like that. And like,
do agree, but isn't it the same thing for things that are happening on hover?
no, because I don't lose my place. Like if I'm scrolling, and I know, oh, I'm like 2 inches down, so I'm going back and forth between like scroll down, scroll up. Well, if I've collapsed a little bit of stuff, my place is now a little lost. Like,
Gotcha.
and I think that's why you usually see things. That's why we'd usually see in the editor, you know, hovering information. For discussions, it makes sense because discussions are a little bit more long lasting. For this, but I don't know. It's a little nitpicky. But I'm also, I'm a little.
It's just worth sharing, right? Because if there's not a definitive, like, again, I guess UX have already shared thoughts or will afterwards.
Yeah, kinda. I still think it is super valuable feedback, and I'll bring it over. That's for sure, and I'll make a proposal about a squiggly line. Maybe that is actually exactly what we need, because I do really think it's a tricky question, because there's just so much going on within this box that it's super hard to get all the functionality in a good way in there.
Can we see if we can add a squiggly?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just a second.
As soon as.
Okay, sorry for disrupting the call. I was let back inside. So
now we've had our smoke break. We're good to
go. Yeah, because I was taking my long smoke break. That was the so the what were you guys looking at? Right? Are you guys creating a proposal or?
Yeah, I feel like my question is already resolved. Thanks a lot for sharing the GL Flex Center with me. I guess
there's another really helpful thing where you're talking about icons and centering them. There's another really helpful one, and you can find references to this on our code base, but it's basically like look for like square-16 or like SQ-16.
Yeah.
And this is what we use often. I would look in our code base for.
Is it for like SVG sizings and stuff?
Yeah, for any time we're doing. This has helped us create a box within another box that had like center. That little box would then be 16, and the outer box would be like 32 or something. Like so, like that was always really helpful. If you go to, I would do a project-wide search for like SQ-16.
We'll do so in a second.
Okay. Stop taking notes. Look at it right now. I'm sorry.
What 16 was that?
SQ for like short for square, I think.
SQ16?
Oh gosh, I guess.
Is it just S16? I think, Paul.
It might just be S16. Yeah. Nope.
Maybe not.
Try square written out. Try square 16. Well, maybe give me a second. I'm sorry, Yannick.
No worries.
I could have sworn it is S, just S, but I'll search mine as well.
It might have I don't know. It might have changed. This is another one of my favorite things. I'm gonna do a regex search for S.
Oh, I think don't know. Is it just S16 without even a hyphen? There's a number of those within the code base.
Oh, that might be it. That might be it.
S16 without even a hyphen.
I think so.
That might be it.
I think you're right. Yes, 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 yes. You are right. Yes, yes. Awesome.
Yep. What are we gonna do with it? Or where are we gonna put it?
We are going to do oh yeah, I'm looking at these SVGs. Yes. Look at this thing. Yes, this is the thing to look at. Let me copy this and over to the Zoom chat. I sent this file over there.
Oh, come on.
So if you just look here, you see we do this thing for all of these different sizes.
Yeah.
But don't worry about S12 and S6. Those specific S12, S16s, those seem like some hacky stuff. I'm not sure where that's come from. But we have you can have apply these S classes to an SVG, or you can apply it to square. So you can do like square S32. So you either apply this directly to the SVG, or if you need something else that's going to be like a square, you can just say square S32 GL flex center, and now you have a 32 by 32 square centered. Do you know what I mean?
I do. Let's try this out. Because it's currently 12 by 12. So what would I apply? I would go for S32.
Well, that's kind of large. Wait, what is it again? Is it actually applying that? It seems large. It's overflowing it. Could we try getting rid of S32? With S30, it didn't seem like it really changed. Can you go back to S12?
Yep.
How interesting. The circle.
Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry. I already forgot about this. What am I integrating in there? With the collapse icon is a different beast. That's the thing. So it's just GL icon collapse, but the SVG will only be the two arrows pointing against each other.
Yep.
And this is actually a CSS background.
Yep. And that's totally
fine. Problem.
We use the square thing. Square thing is your friend. So I would apply to this button class. Let's apply square and apply S12, but not S32. Let's apply S12. Yes.
Come on, Chrome.
But we will want to, this is all wrapped in a span. Do you see that the GL Flex Center has a span? We want to get rid of that wrapping span for sure. Yeah. And where's the GL Flex Center thing? So that thing, for some reason, is not taking the full height. So we'll want to give this, we can either figure out why this isn't taking the full height or we can give it an H full. Or GL H full is the, yeah. Boom. So that square, maybe we don't want S12 because that's the size of the icon. Maybe we want that to be S16. Yeah. Maybe. But you're right, it doesn't look good because it's not squiggly line.
And that is the thing with this this page kinda. it looks good and it behave. I like the behavior. For whatever reason, the tooltips are broken. The problem is that we're now having multiple collapse icons and they're looking differently, which is not. There's just too many dependencies on this page.
Yeah. So I looked for wavy lines. So we could use a border bottom, and we could use dotted. We could use a tiny little image and set it to repeat, or there is text decoration underline wavy, but I don't know what the browser support is for that, so we might just want to check.
Just as long as we I don't know, we also want it to be annotating to the non, and the read aloud mode of
accessibility.
You're reading a diff, but underneath the diff there's some wavy lines that give you a sense of longing for the sea. Are these lines of blood, or their redness is
Yeah. Is that an argument against or for the text decoration?
Wavy is gonna work out. Text, I love this. Is gonna be look so sweet. It'll look like we have an IDE in the diff thing. It'll be so cool.
Yep. Speaking about browser support, it actually looks good to me, kinda.
Yeah,
is a problem we shouldn't worry about anymore.
I don't think so. I don't know how to read this perfectly, but I'm guessing lots of green. What are the browsers that we don't care about?
The whole ones, it looks like.
No, that's like partial support. No, support unknown.
Yeah.
No. So to quickly explain, it is not related to any kind of GitLab metrics, and I don't even know from the top of my head. I think it is latest release plus the 2 versions before that, something along those lines. So from what I can see on first draft, this should probably be okay. And that's maybe me leaning a bit, but UC browser for Android and the Baidu browser are probably not our biggest
0%
user base.
0% usage. I guess that's rounded somewhat, but
yeah, we probably should be okay. Or that's not to worry too much. So underline baby, let's go.
Yeah, it'd be so cool. Let's just see if we can get the CSS for it here first, just in the browser, and then figure out the right place to put it. Can we try that out?
Just edit the DOM, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Yep.
So can we go to debugger, the actual text of debugger?
So well, would you do the whole lot, underline the whole line, do you think, Paul?
Yeah, I think that's all we can do. We want to make sure we're not doing it. We don't want to.
The other option, I'm assuming we don't get the information we need to be too specific, but I think the IDE quite often does maybe like just the first, say, 3 characters or so, but
interesting point.
Maybe more is more in this instance, as opposed to less being more.
Yeah, let's for the sake of the prototype, let's probably not deal with a couple of characters because
I've got Visual Studio open now, and it looks like it's underlined the entire of, not the whole line. In certain instances, let's say there's a variable that is saying is named poorly or something like that. It's just the word, but still, it's not just the first few characters. So.
All right. So now though, I'm thinking. Got me thinking. Like, what if down the line we actually want to implement, would we ever want to? I don't know. What if down the line we actually want to implement a level of like linting?
One more time, please.
What did you say?
Just repeat. Like, what if down the line we want to?
What if down the line we wanted to implement? Like, are we going to be creating my question was, are we going to create something that will couple the code quality, which will then conflicts if we ever had another feature that we wanted to like add to actually do.
I don't know about conflicting, but that would be just you just gave me awesome. That'd be so good if so we use Markdown Lint, and I don't think you might be doing some linting yourself, but I certainly in the office use Markdown Lint that sort of says this line long, there should be a blank line here. If that had the wavy lines and visualizations in the diff, that'd be awesome.
So I think though, I was starting to get a little worried of like, oh man, maybe we shouldn't be using wavy lines for this. But now I'm thinking the way IDEs resolve this is like, yeah, any kind of outside tool that wants to comment on a line, you add a wavy thing, and then those comments stack. Like if you're and I think that's the way to do it. So
absolutely,
I like the wavy stuff.
So just to get this right, you would just put a wavy line for an indicator that there's something going wrong. It might, maybe the color will show you something, and then with a tooltip or whatever the name of this thing was, that would then in there could either be code quality, security, lint, something going on here, Paul. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that might be.
And I think for the first iteration, let's not even worry about the popover. Let's see if we can just collect all of the comments at the bottom. Like that's
if you, Yannick, if where you next to wavy, if you click the little arrow, it should hopefully let you set. So do you need to set like the thickness or the cut? Maybe the color you need set to red, or I think you have to do it all in this. Oh no, maybe you don't.
What else do I care about? Line. There we go.
That's it. It's perfect.
Underline looks better to me.
That's it. Yeah, it was underline wavy, wasn't it? That and red ideally as well.
Oh, but that is already annoying. Like that is wow.
Well, you shouldn't have put the debugger statement there.
That's how you break it. Yeah. So text
that's
decoration.
not pretty. That's not great. Is there a way to make that look nicer? Are we we're probably touching the wrong span. Can we try it on the actually just debugger word?
Oh yeah, fair point. I gave up on this because it didn't work in the first place, but
I think we figured out how to make it work.
Yeah, underline, obviously, wavy. What about that? Still the same problem, but let's see.
Just to satisfy me, can you make it red as well? Underline wavy red.
It seems like I can't. Yes. Not too bad.
That's pretty good though.
And you know what? Let's see for the text decoration line. Is there any other option? Blink is never very on modern browsers.
Text decoration. That's perfect.
Oh, there, I fixed it. Just overline the line below. And then it should be okay.
It's really good. Oh, spelling error. That's interesting. I wonder why. Yeah, let me see if I can look up why the G isn't like it's not writing over that. Text decoration wavy. But by
the spelling error thing is nice. Well, it's not. It's kind of leaning on the browser's implementation of a spell check. That's not what we're looking for, but it's still pretty cool.
I don't know if we can get away with I don't know if we can get away with wavy not getting clipped a little bit, but I think it's not that bad.
Yeah, that's probably okay. Like, let's stick with the browser
My
defaults.
only worry is what if because there's certain, like, you just use a P in Ruby to write to the console. If you just had a P and it was trying to underline that, and because it's the P stick is too low, then your underline just vanishes all.
Yes. Yes, this is it. Skip ink. Skip ink. This is it. You found it. How in the world did you find it? I tried looking for it, Yannick. You did it. That was good. Wow.
Text
Like
decoration
a senior
underline.
front-end engineer.
Carton. It was the spelling of carton that found it.
It was the misspelling of it. That was the trick.
Yeah,
Got it.
senior Googler. That's how we are.
That's fine.
What am I looking at? Text decoration. Skip ink.
I would love to receive a resume one day and someone, worked at Google for 3 years. I was like, wow, how was that? Well, I didn't really work at Google, but I used it a lot.
really a lot of times. Text
It was kind of
decoration.
like I worked for Google. Yeah. Skip ink.
None. That's what we're looking for. None.
Make it wavy. Make it wavy.
Make it wavy all the way.
Yeah.
That's so pretty. It's not pretty. I hate seeing this as a developer, but it's also nice when I guess you're the one that's causing pain to other developers.
That's not too bad.
Let's make the thick. It's too thick. Let's make the thickness.
Yeah. One more thing about you perspective. What would you expect to be a hoverable element now? This whole thing?
I think so.
Yeah.
The word. Okay. Gotcha.
But I would say let's just not do that for the first iteration. I really like the idea of let's have a box at the bottom of these that are maybe collapsible by default.
Oh yeah.
And that's going to really help this jump out at reviewers of this file has
these warnings.
Found
issues.
6 warnings. Let me just click on that. And then this is just a nice visible indicator and it's great.
And then so you would still keep this box.
I actually wouldn't. I would
move all of them into one box at the bottom.
I would put one box at the like on the IDE. If you open up like the ESLint output for a file and it just lists for the file.
I don't know. Let me see if I can send you a screenshot.
I'm not sure if I'm a fan of this proposal, but it sure would solve so many of those problems if we would just add a code quality box somewhere down here or at the top or anywhere. It really feels like the inline character of the thing is causing all the troubles. That is because space is so limited and just kind of falls. Makes it way or is going south.
So I don't think it has to be like that forever, but it's like for me, it's like that's as a reviewer, that's a preferable UX, and it seems a lot easier to reliably implement because we're not. It seems a lot more maintainable and easier to do as well. So nice. I would say per file. If a file doesn't have any issues, we don't show the box. But if a file does, we would have per file a box at the bottom which just collects these things. Maybe we can add a click listener. If I click on that, it brings me down to the box or something. But that's just the first iteration. Yeah, it's not great. Ideally, we could have this inline in like a call out or something. But clearly, let's not. This real estate is so crazy expensive here. Let's be careful before doing this unless we're really, really sure about it.
Yeah. Just to have it mentioned, like for first iteration kind of things, we are currently looking at an active feature flag, and if I would turn it off, then we would have these findings in there inlined in this tooltip. So that would be kind of it. We can probably get away with that, but I'm definitely taking away the wavy line. I
think you both kind of know how it looks. Definitely, Paul, because you've been suggesting it. But I just pinged you on Slack with a screenshot that I took because I've got Visual Studio open.
Oh, nice, thanks.
Open here, and it helps to kind of reiterate what you were saying, Paul, about at the bottom of the screen you've got your list of errors in that window.
Yes.
Obviously, I'm looking at left-right diff here. You can see your underline, you can see your hover. It just kind of demonstrates. But as you were saying, first iteration probably don't need the hover. Just that list at the bottom is enough to.
This list, yeah.
Yes,
Gotcha.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, might be it. Like I could see this becoming tricky for very, very long files. Because we don't have this kind of window segregation.
Oh yeah, sticky, whatever you want to call it.
Exactly. That is something we don't support on this page. So therefore this
I
might
think
be an issue.
I don't know if it needs to be sticky. I don't know. Maybe. To me though, seeing one box that is on, if there's something I need to look at it, having it consolidated. I know this is I'm suggesting it. I know I'm biased. Just please don't feel like you have to listen to me. This is such a cool feature. I would miss it in its current state, and I would be confused by it and not use it. And it is
because
really
it's just
cool.
counterintuitive for devs with those icons, isn't it?
Heavy lifting as well, right? If you've got to click every single one to see what it is, whereas if there's just a summary at the bottom, then happy days.
Oh, I feel like this is such a good argument, because some of those findings, they would actually make a very limited amount of sense without having the context of the other ones. If you would say, like, if it might just say duplicated method, and it'll be saying it in one place, and then it's your task to now search through your 100,000 lines of code in this file to actually find the other duplicate, which just feels stupid. So that is, a collective display of these things might actually have a lot of benefit.
You can have, like, I think it would be really nice to have the traceability links to it. So it's like, I'm looking at the summary, I can click on it, it'll jump me to the line of code where that was. Ideally, I could click on the line here, and that could drop me to the summary or something, maybe. The traceability links will be important. I think that IDE experience for how the IDE communicates these messages, we want to really strongly lean into. And the fact that we're running into implementation issues because of how much things are cramped here, that's a warning sign for us to go back to the top.
I do agree. The only thing that I think is worth us having in the back of our minds is, yes, probably a large percentage of people that are using this tool are developers, but then you've also got people that may be doing Markdown or some other kind of maybe people. So I would definitely be drawn towards, well, I'm so used to using my IDE. If I can make this work like my IDE, awesome. But then maybe I'll, the back of my head, need to think, oh, if somebody's not used to an IDE, and they're normally just working in Notepad or some kind of WYSIWYG, like browser-based WordPress or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. But the thing with that is that I get what you're saying, but no matter what you're using, might be VS Code, Vim, or Notepad, this behavior is always new.
True, that doesn't fit with any tool, right?
So this is kind of like, this will be alien no matter where you're coming from. And with a wavy line, we at least, this will be familiar to some
even if you've sent an email like from Word or Office or
it's
Google
kind of
or wherever you've done it, you've seen a wavy line for a spelling error in like primary school or whatever.
So we'll have to do some interesting things here, to thinking ahead if we implement the wavy line. We get as raw HTML from the backend, I believe. We get these lines as raw HTML from the backend.
I've been working with this.
So I've got a kind of discarded MR that I need to look at again one day for CSV diffs.
So we would need to have, it's not bad to do this. We just have to be extra careful and have, control of what we're doing. From the view component that calculates where we need to do this, we're going to have to query selector the raw HTML that has been inserted
Yeah.
and apply, whatever classes we need to.
Yeah, I'll be okay probably. Like there is a let's see if I can find this real quick. So there is a call to code quality being made, and that will return a line number. So
Yep.
it would basically
We should be able to find that div or whatever quite easily from
by
the
ID.
span or yeah.
Exactly. So it's just basically we need to find the exact line and then just underline the whole thing of it.
Awesome.
That's what we would need to do. And yeah, that sounds doable to me.
Can we try making the line thinner? Did that work?
The wavy one?
Yeah. This is such a cool feature. This is going to be really sweet. Yeah. Thanks for letting me in. Yeah. I like it smaller, but I'm blessed with, fairly good. So
let's just create an option for it.
Yeah, I definitely the code quality, the code coverage, the test coverage visualization has been an absolute game changer for us. Like, I know after eventually with practice, you do drum into your head that you're like, where's the test? Where's the test? Where's the test? But
can I see an example for that? Because I don't really know what you're speaking about.
You're missing out, Yannick. It's really cool.
Oh yeah.
Do we have it running on our GitLab project?
I can. Yeah.
Okay.
Just look at one of your MRs, hopefully.
Sweet.
Well,
Yeah.
the problem is,
Maybe my test coverage is so good.
I was about to say, Yannick always has perfect coverage, so it's never a problem.
Let's try to find something. There was something going on in here. Okay, so a couple of changes.
So you wait a few seconds.
Here we go. I got one for you. Do you want me?
What?
Do you want me to share my screen?
Yeah, please.
So this is what it looks like. This green bar, and this would be red if it was not covered.
And if you hover over it,
you're freaking kidding me! I never know what that's before.
Yeah, but it's not.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. But it's like not present if so for YAML is hard to test for code coverage. So some of that stuff is there. Looks like this one. Yeah, you see all these green lines. Super sweet.
Yeah. And if you hover it tells you how many tests are hitting the sweet.
Today I learned. Okay.
Honestly, it's like it just really, really helps you to I suppose you don't want to get lazy, but immediately see orange and you're like, oh, we're missing a test.
But can I grab the screen once more? Of
course.
Because
do you want me to share
this? Yeah. Okay. Because this is not working on all of our MRs, is it? Because this is the one I just showed.
I think that the artifacts maybe expire. Anything I can think of at the moment.
I think you're right too about that. So it is coupled to a pipeline run, and I do believe there's some files that are hard for it to.
You normally have to wait for a few seconds for it to load, but
I'm pretty sure view templates will have a hard time figuring out code coverage for view template. But that's a conjecture. I would try.
Let's take any which is currently open. No idea what's going on.
Well, so you're looking at front end code, or I guess this isn't front end code.
And this is a spec, so this isn't going to have coverage.
The other thing though is if the MR is not approved, then we haven't run the full pipeline, so that could be related to it as well. Yeah, the MR I sent you does seem to have it working. I don't think it has any front end files in that MR, so we can't check it from that perspective. But the backends seem to have the coverage stuff working.
Okay, I see. That that makes sense then.
Markdown, I guess doesn't show for Markdown. No test.
Okay.
I'm sure you can find one, Yannick. I'm sure you can. Come on, show us.
Keep looking, I'll find it.
Yeah, that's not waste too much time on this. The only thing I'm kind of thinking about, or the last thought that I'd like to share is, yeah, Paul, can you just share the screen once more with the MR, which had the test coverage indicators working? Yep.
Where am I at? Yep.
Exactly. Okay, so this will be inlined. What I'm thinking about is, if I imagine that there would be a code quality problem over there, I feel like we do have a bunch of scanners, and we're having more and more of them working on those lines, which is fantastic. But maybe we should have like something like a shared control center or an interface which would just show you what's going on, no matter it would be test coverage, security, code quality, any of those kind of things. Like that is where you would go.
Oh, so you mean you could actually use that same green bar to show amber because there's a code quality issue, not necessarily because there's a test coverage issue?
Might be a bar, might be a wavy line, might be a circle, but just get those kind of, yeah, let's not treat all those scanners differently, because as a reviewer,
100%.
as a reviewer or a developer, I just want to see if there's something going on, like there was a problem that requires your attention. I feel like that is where we can find some things.
Yeah, and I think it'd be worth exploring what VS Code does, because I know that they allow extensions to add things. And that's kind of what we have. We have test coverage extension. We have code quality extension. And like, so how did VS Code, how did they supply the ability for allowing these various cross-cutting concerns, applying notifications on a line where things weren't so jarring because everything's doing in its own freeform style.
Understood, yeah.
And I don't know, I doubt stacking bars where it looks like, some sort of like military general would look great. I don't think that would be ideal. But I kind of think, maybe if one of the extensions has detected some sort of issue, then it gets promoted to some sort of yellowish or red. Like if one of the extensions has to really flag this line as red, that wins. And so this is now a red line. What's challenging there is if I'm wanting to just get a cursory glance of test coverage, I've now, that information at a cursory glance is now lost because it's
it might be nice to be able to one or the other. I mean, as an idea that I absolutely hate is we could maybe have a right-hand margin with some stuff in.
Then we get the bottom margin per lines. We have these lines.
Exactly. You got red wavy underline, you got green on the left, and then you got amber on the right.
Yeah.
Anyways, guys, been a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks so much.
And I'm gonna do a runner. See you soon.
Awesome. Thanks so much for the discussion. Have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Bye.